I've been demoing, probably saw some time-lapse stuff, but I've been demoing. I'm all kind of cleaned out almost. So I'm to the point where I've got to replace the floor for basically this whole little section, and then I've got to replace that, and I'm just going to kind of replace that whole thing right there. But it goes up into that corner, out into this a little bit. So I think that's the meat of my problems right now. Everything's going relatively smoothly. I kind of thought I was going to be able to work with a little bit more than what I had to begin with. So after I get the floor done, I'm going to redo that, and then I'm going to put some insulation in there. Then I got to check to see, I've got to add all my stuff up and check to see if my wiring is going to be enough, or do I need to add some, because I've got some high wattage stuff here. This is the furnace that came with it. There's no good reason why it shouldn't be working, so I'm going to probably actually tackle that after I kind of get this stuff done. But I'm waiting on a gas regulator to come in the mail. Anyway, so when that gets here, I'm going to dive into that, and that way I can have a little bit of heat while I'm working out here. Right now I'm just kind of working with my space heater, but things are going relatively well. It may look like trash, but hopefully this will be the beginning of the end in the best way. Got it all cleaned out back here. Still kind of need to find out if that fridge works, but you know, with it being cold, like, it's kind of hard to tell. I don't know, maybe you can tell me. I've decided, so I've got, by the way, okay, so if you didn't know, I'll show it to you maybe later. I've got a big window that's going to go right here. And basically it's exactly as long as this, which is great. So I only have to kind of cut out that to fit it. And I think that's about where it goes. It's about right here. So it's quite a bit lower here. And I wanted that to accommodate the drive-through. Like, I wanted it to not be difficult for people to get their stuff. Anyway, so I've got a second window exactly like that. And I was really trying to figure out if I wanted to put it in this area or if I wanted to use that window and extend it out here. And long story short, this whole thing, this is going to be where my water tanks are, up here. And then I'll have my sinks right over the top here. And there are actually, okay, 5 sinks that I have. Check it out.
Check it out.
I need 3. I need 3 plus 1 hand washing sink to make code. So it's, first of all, if you've ever tried to buy one specifically for a restaurant and trailer use and stuff, they're really expensive, like $300. I ain't all about that. I'm working on a budget here. So the one that came with it came right out of here. I'm using that. And I bought another one for $20. So that's a four sinks. And then I've got my hand washing sink. Well, I didn't really set out to do 4, but that's just how things worked out. And that's fine, because what'll happen is I'll have 3 of the sinks for wash, rinse, sanitize. And then the fourth one would be for, like, if I have to pour a coffee out, or, you know, just kind of like a everyday use sort of sink. And then, of course, my hand washing one. So that's going to fill up, like, pretty much all that space. And that really sucks, but it is what it is. It's such a huge rabbit hole, because I need to have one of these windows on both sides to be basically a donut display, right? We're doing donuts by St. George's Donuts, hopefully. And so I wanted, like, a whole, like, display, like a whole side of it that I'm not using, basically, because I'm only opening one side, to be for just people to see what donuts we have that day. And so with as many sinks going in over here as I had, like, the simple plan was to put a table or whatever, like a countertop all the way across here from wall to wall, and just that be that. Like that's it over there, and it would have to come out to roughly here. So we'll just call it that thing. And I think that's somewhere in the 36 inch range. Anyway, and it just got, so my original plan was to work this window out, and I was going to put the donuts kind of on that one, because if people are driving up this way, the driver is going to be on this side pointing this way. So I will be like on this angle, and I might have like a seat there even, I don't know, we'll see, pointing sort of that way and this way. And so in other words, if they're right here, they're not going to necessarily be looking, I don't know. Anyway, so the problem was I needed to have like a space that goes down far enough to meet the bottom of that window. Therefore, I was going to have to like cut a piece out or like build it short or something like that. And you know, that's a whole another thing of framing. I can't. Anyway, so I moved it back here, and it'll be much better. If the heater works, then that stays, and that's golden. We're just going to kind of build a little platform. It's almost the same height as this, maybe a couple inches off or something. So I'll just build like the platform over it, which there were cabinets over it before. But the platform. Something over it so that I can sit, like build cabinets or build something on top of that, like have a countertop or something on top of that. And then this side, let's see. Yeah, this side will be donut stuff. I've got some space over here. That's about 3 feet's worth of space right here to do stuff with. I kind of have to work with that as well. And that would be the service window right there, kind of that spot. So that's a lot of stuff. I know, information dumping. Sorry about that. But things are going well. Like I'm stoked for it. I'm getting some decent days. I was kind of injured over the Thanksgiving holiday. Like I jacked up my finger really bad. I don't know what it was, but it's kind of better now. And then I ate so much. Listen.
How is he?
That's good. Processing nicely. Processing very well.